And this is what it ensures that our data is protected from start to finish, right? Whether you are entering the credit card information or browsing in the internet or chatting with your girlfriend.
So hello there. So welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we'll understand what's behind SSL/TLS. You must have heard about this term quite often, right? The protocol that secures your data, right? Every time when you browse the website or browse anything in the internet, correct? Have you ever wondered how your data stays safe from hacker when you visit a website? Well, today we are diving deep into the details of the how TLS and SSL works basically, right? So let's begin. So before starting the video, let's understand a bit about symmetric and asymmetric encryption. So let's start with the symmetric encryption first. So symmetric encryption basically uses a single key for both encryption and decryption. You could think of it like a shared secret between two parties. For example, if you and your friend both have the same key, right? You can unlock and lock the box using the same key itself. Okay. So it's about the symmetric encryption. Now let's talk about asymmetric encryption. In asymmetric encryption, two keys are used basically. One is the public key and one is the private key. Okay. So these keys are mathematical related, but what one key locks, right? The others can unlock it basically. That means if any data or any box, let's say, is encrypted using the public key, it can be decrypted using the private key, and the vice versa. If the box is encrypted or locked using the private key, it can be decrypted using the public key. Okay. So the public keys is shared openly with anyone who wants to send a message, right? That's why its name is public. So anyone can use this public key to encrypt the data, but once encrypted, only the corresponding private key can decrypt it, right? So if a data is encrypted using public key, only private key can decrypt it. What does it mean? This means that even if someone intercepts the encrypted message, let's say you encrypted some data, right? You encrypted some data using this public key, okay? And if the data gets into the hands of any hacker, he cannot decrypt it because he doesn't have the private key, correct? So now the question is, why do they discuss about two encryption algorithms? So the main reason is when you visit a secure website, right? When you visit any website, asymmetric encryption is used to establish a secure connection between the client and the server. And after that, they exchange a symmetric key, which is used to do the data transfer between the client and server using the symmetric encryption algorithm. We'll discuss about this later in this video. Now let's understand how the TLS/SSL works basically, right? So this TLS/SSL handshake begins with the client hello and the server hello message, right? Client sends a hello message to server and server sends a hello message to the client. It's not like the phone wala hello, right? When you call and say someone hello. So it's kind of, basically they exchange some information between the client and server, like what is the SSL version they're going to use, what is the encryption algorithm they're going to support, right? And few random numbers also they exchange, which will be useful in the later part of the communication, which we'll discuss in a while. Now next comes the crucial step. The server sends its digital certificate to the client, right? Now the certificate is issued by a certificate authority or a CA, like Let's Encrypt, let's say, which is a popular open source certificate authority. Okay, let's see what is in this certificate and why is it so important, right? Now if you see here, now the certificate contains mainly two information. It contains a lot of information which I'll show you how actual certificate looks like, but mainly it contains two information. One is the public key of the server. Now if you see, this green one is the public key of the server and this blue one is the private key of the server. Now the certificate which is issued by the Let's Encrypt to the server, it will contain the public key of the server and a digital signature. Now what is a digital signature? Digital signature is nothing but a hash certificate data, like what is the domain name of the server, who is the issuer of the certificate, what is the expiry of the certificate, and the public key of the server. All those information are hashed. Then the CA encrypts that hashed value using its private key. Basically, this hash value is also generated by the CA. So this is the private key of the CA and this is the public key of the CA. Okay, and combining these two, it gives the digital certificate to the server. Okay, so this was about the content inside the digital certificate. Now the certificate, the server sent the certificate to the client, right? Now how does the client verify that the certificate that is sent is valid or it is a genuine one or not, right? Here is how it does it, and here's where the things get interesting. Now the client already has the CS public key. Okay? It's a quite common thing. I mean, all the browser have the public key of all the certificate issuing authorities. So this blue one is the public key, as we saw, this public key of the CA. Now the client uses this public key to decrypt the CS digital signature. Now inside the certificate, we saw that the digital signature is there, right? So this digital signature, the client will use this public key, which is nothing but the public key of the CA, to decrypt this digital signature to get this hashed value, right? Now once this hash value is decrypted, right, the client then generate its own hash of the certificate data, right? The client knows what are the data inside a certificate. Now it will create its own hash using the cryptographic algorithm, okay, which is supported by both the client and server and agreed upon. It will generate its hash. It will match this hash with the decrypted one, right? This decrypted one that was there, it was a decrypted, let's say. It was a decrypted and it was the hash generated by the client. Okay, it will try to match both of this. If both of the hashes match, then the client knows that the certificate is legitimate and the connection is secure. Okay, so this part is done. So once this connection is secured, right, now you take a note that this encryption and decryption was done using a private and public key mechanism. That means it's a asymmetric encryption and decryption process. Now once this connection is secured, right, what is the next step? Now one question might come, what if a hacker tries to tamper with the certificate? For example, the certificate, when the server was sending the certificate to the client, right? Let's say the certificate came to the hacker, I mean somehow, before it went to the client, the hacker got its hand on the certificate, okay? Now imagine they intercept the certificate and modify the data of it, okay? Definitely they could generate a new digital signature, right, using their own private key, because hacker के पास तो CA का private key नहीं है, right? So it will use its own private key. Let's say this red one is the private key of the hacker. It will use this private key to generate its own digital signature, a new digital signature, and put it in the certificate. But when this manipulated certificate is sent to the client, right, and when the client will attempt to decrypt it, it will use the public key of the CA only, right? Because originally the certificate was issued by the CA. So it will use this public key of the CA. It will try to decrypt and it will fail, because it was encrypted using the private key of the hacker. Now this triggers an alert, okay? And the connection fails and the connection won't be established. So this is how our data remains safe, and the hacker finds it very difficult and impossible to hack through the SSL connection, okay, SSL connectivity. Now once the server certificate is verified, the client moves on to the next step, okay? What is the next step? Let's say we clear all these things from here. I clear this as well, okay? So now the client generates something called a pre-master secret, which is nothing but a random number, okay? Let's say the client generates this random number, okay? Just to give it a fancy name called pre-master secret, but this is important. Why it is important? Let's try to understand now, okay? Now what it will do, client will use the server's public key, because the client already has the certificate, right? And inside the certificate, we know that server's public key is already there. That means a copy of this public key is already with the client. Now what the client will do, it will generate this random number, it will encrypt that data, encrypt this pre-master secret, basically log this box which contains this pre-master secret, which is a random number, with the public key of the server, and send it to the server. Now because it was encrypted using the public key of the server can utilize its private key to decrypt this box, right, to unlock this box and get a hold of this pre-master secret, okay? Now the server, let's say, decrypts it and got this pre-master secret value, okay? Once decrypted, both the client and the server will use this pre-master secret for further communication. And this pre-master secret will be used along with the random number which they exchanged earlier in the client server and client hello and server hello process, right? I told earlier that they exchanged some numbers between them. So along with this pre-master secret, those random numbers will be used to generate a unique symmetric session key. Why it is called symmetric session key? Because from now on that symmetric session key will be used between the client and server to communicate and pass the data from now on, exchange the data in an encrypted format using symmetric encryption algorithm. Why symmetric encryption is used? Because symmetric encryption is quite faster. Encrypting and decrypting the data using symmetric communication is faster. This combination of asymmetric encryption for securely exchanging the session key followed by symmetric encryption, right, for the actual data transmission is what makes SSL and TLS very powerful. Okay, as we saw, first step was to use asymmetric encryption algorithm to exchange the certificate, do the verification and establish a secure channel between the client and server. And once the secure channel is established, then fall back to the symmetric encryption algorithm to exchange the data. This entire setup of how SSL and TLS works is explained to you, and this is what it ensures that our data is protected from start to finish, right? Whether you are entering in any of your credit card information or browsing in the internet or chatting with your girlfriend, that's how the entire communication is secured using the SSL and TLS mechanism. That's all about how SSL and TLS works. Before closing the video, let me show you actual certificate. How does it look? Let me go to the browser. I've opened this website called uptimeai.com. Now if you click on this icon, you'll find these three options, right? Click on this connection is secure button, then you'll find a tab called certificate is valid. Now if you go here, you'll find out that you will find a thing called public key, which is nothing but the public key of the server. Okay, this one, public key of the server. Now where is this digital signature? Let's see that as well. We'll go to the details tab. We'll go to the certificate signature value, and this is what the signature value looks like. Okay, so this is the actual certificate, and this is what transferred from the server to this client, to the browser. Okay, so yeah, if you found this video helpful, then don't forget to like and share, and obviously one request, subscribe to this channel so that I'll keep making this kind of entertaining and useful tech videos for you. And till then, stay safe and see you in the next video. Thank you.